Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. I wanted to record this little bit of extra to the episode because we had an uploading issue and I'll take full responsibility. I put it on uploading for the wrong Tuesday of the month. So what you're about to see is what should have aired on February the 11th. And so we will have not played Vanderbilt at that time. So keep that in mind when you're listening to the discussion and everything. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the episode. That is possibly the worst thing that could have happened on Saturday.
Johnson goes to deny, step back, big play for the...
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go, the tip by Broom! Up ahead,
Harper. Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. As you can see, my brother Josh is unable to join us tonight. He is dealing with some illnesses in his house and is having to do quite a bit more work than he normally does. So we will excuse him for this round of the episode. Let's go ahead and dive into what happened this last Saturday, as well as what happened in the Oklahoma game, and then preview our games coming up against Vanderbilt and the Iron Bowl at Alabama this next Saturday. But first, before we jump into that, let's talk about our affiliate, Fanatics. Make sure that if you are looking to buy any more new Auburn gear and getting ready for March coming up, make sure you look at fanatics.com and use our affiliate link below, and you will be helping us out greatly. Let's dive right on into it. Let's first start with the victory in Oklahoma on, what was it, last Tuesday? We had that. We go into Oklahoma. We absolutely had that game under control the entire time. At no point did it look like we were going to lose that game. We were turning them over left and right. What was our final steal count in that game? We're looking at 9 steals, 11 blocks. 11 blocks, 6 of them coming from Dylan Cardwell, who had himself a game with 8 points, 6 blocks, and 3 rebounds and an assist. It was just all around a beating. Janai Broom really didn't shoot too well in that game. I guess he was at 50%, so I guess I was a little bit wrong there, but it just seemed like an off game for him. Seemed like he's getting his legs underneath him some more. But we had Chaney Johnson step up, Tahad Pettiford stepped up, and we really saw a lot from Chad Baker-Mazara and Denver Jones. Denver Jones just looked absolutely phenomenal out there against the Sooners. Could not have asked for a better outcome in that game. I really have no critique for it. It was we've had 2 90-point games so far, going back to the Ole Miss game and just blowing them out the way that we did, and then going into against Oklahoma, not in Oklahoma, in Neville Arena, going back home and just really controlling things from the outset. The crowd was into it, and it was an amazing turnout. Just an all-around great game, which led us to feeling probably a little bit more overconfident than we should have been heading into the Florida game. Now, before the season started, my brother and I both predicted that we were going to lose the Florida game, but heading into this week, we absolutely thought that we had Florida and that we were going to win. This team has just been one of those teams, especially at home, that you cannot bet against and vote against until they showed you something to say otherwise. Well, I think it's needless to say, Florida showed us otherwise and really came at us that in a way that we really have not seen anyone come at us this year. It was an absolute drumming by Florida. Auburn went out ahead. We started the game 15 points ahead, and after that, Florida just went on an amazing shooting streak. It seemed like everything they shot went down. They were getting open threes. They were getting open under the basket, getting great rebounds, and just all around looked like the better team for a big stretch of the first half. We go into halftime down. Up 1 point. No, we weren't. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at things a little differently. We were down 10 points. That's what I thought. I thought we were down. We're down 10 points, and it just looked like nobody on the team really wanted to be out there. Tahad Pettiford did look phenomenal, if I remember correctly, let's see here. What did he finish with? What was Tahad out there looking like? Tahad had 14 points. He shot 2 of 5 from behind the arc and then 4 of 11. Played 25 minutes, though, so he was out there for a long, long time. And Miles Kelly was the one that just absolutely carried this team, specifically in the first half, it seemed like. In the second half, we started getting Janai Broome going. He finishes with 18 points. But if you looked at the game, he didn't look like Janai Broome. Okay? He looked like he was he just didn't want to be there. He looked like he was kind of just phoning it in, didn't want to deal with the bigs that Florida had, which they had 2 phenomenal bigs. And credit to Florida for what they did. They absolutely imposed their will on Auburn and really made their game. They made the game what they wanted it to be. And they were without their best player as well. So they are not a team to trifle with. They're the only team this year, I believe, that has beaten the number 1 team in the country, previously beating Drumming, just completely destroying Tennessee a few weeks back. And then coming into Neville Arena and beating us. And we fought back and we got it close. It never felt like we were going to come back and win this game, if I'm being honest. So with the struggles we had, is this something that we need to be concerned about? Okay. And for me, I think it is. I think we do need to be concerned about this because this could be a tailspin. We had Florida this last Saturday. We have Vanderbilt coming up on Tuesday, the 11th. Okay. Now, that game at Vanderbilt is a crapshoot. Vanderbilt has beaten so many ranked teams this year that it really could be, and they really haven't been ranked for a majority of the season, but it really could be a dogfight, especially in that arena, which is just unbelievably stupid. I just cannot even begin to explain how stupid it is. It's like once you start diving down one reason or going down one rabbit hole, there's a whole nother one that you could venture into and say that's another issue. But this team, it's concerning in the sense that Florida came into Neville and imposed their will, and Janai Broome didn't look like he wanted to be there. That's the concerning part. And you know, the thing is it's a long season, right? And it's in the SEC, it's an even longer season because every team, night in and night out, is going to give you their best shot because we got the number 1 by our name. And number 2, they're wanting to make this their year. And there is a ton of great teams in the SEC. So should we be concerned? Yes, because this could spiral. We could lose at Vandy. And then we're heading into the Iron Bowl on Saturday with a 2-loss possibility. It's not out of the realm of thought. And so I'm a little concerned about this. And we're going to be able to tell a lot come Tuesday. If this team struggles against Vandy and, again, looks like they don't want to be there too much, and Broome starts looking a little weary, it could be a long couple of weeks for us Auburn fans. Another thing I think we need to be concerned with is Auburn's efficiency. It started to come to a trend where it looks like we're not being as efficient as we were to begin the season. For example, Janai Broome was 8 for 19 in this game. Now, Florida did a lot of things. They put a lot of big bodies on him and really pushed him off his spot. and he doesn't have the jump and the spring in his step like he did before the injury. He's getting shots off a little bit quicker than what it seemed like, just because he doesn't have some of the strength, maybe. I don't know. But we're definitely not being as efficient as we were. We finished the game against Florida shooting 31% from behind the arc, so really things are not going too well there. And that's, with Miles Kelly shooting 3 for 9, who has been a knockdown shooter for us all year long. So we need to get more efficient, which is saying a lot. And we have that high expectation because they've been the most efficient offense in the country and the most efficient offense in the history of college basketball, the modern college basketball. They are killing it on the offensive end. And so when they're this far off and they're looking like they're not hitting their shots the way that they have been, it looks a lot worse than what it probably is. Now, we have a lot of things that we can look at and we can get better at, and we can look at it and say, okay, there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and it's something that we can, essentially bounce back. Number one, going to Vanderbilt, I don't care how you win, just win. Okay? Yeah, you'll want to look good. I think the point spread on that game is like 8 or 9, which is a little crazy, but 8 or 9. I'm not going to bore you guys while I look that up. But any way we can win that game is going to be huge heading into the rest of this schedule, because the rest of February is just a nightmare. But another thing that we need to focus on is also we need to get our shooters hitting shots. Again, Todd Pettiford is in big games stepping up. Miles Kelly is stepping up. Denver Jones is really starting to look like the Denver Jones of old. In the Florida game, he looked like crap. He looked terrible in the Florida game. He finished with 2 points. Chad Baker-Mazara was 6 points. Chad also getting hurt in that Florida game. So again, let's see if we can bounce back in the sense of just putting one foot in front of the other, getting through this game against Vandy, bounce back, have a win in the SEC, and Saturday is going to feel a lot better whenever we get to it. Now, this team is filled with veterans. I mean, there are veterans at every position, everywhere we go. And so really, we shouldn't be too surprised if we do bounce back, because we got a lot of guys that can step up. And so it's definitely something that can happen and should happen. And I don't think we need to worry too much. I know I started the episode all doom and gloom with the opening, but it really isn't that big of a deal. A loss at this stage can be beneficial in the sense, and I know the guys over at Locked On are going crazy with this statement, but it can be beneficial because it gets us refocused and it allows us to stop trying to go undefeated in the SEC. We have our loss, okay? So we need to stop chasing that, because that's not the point, okay? Is there any Auburn fan out there that says, oh man, if we don't go undefeated in the SEC or win the SEC, the season's a loss? No, we don't care about that. We care about come the big tournament and come March, or April is when they have the national title game. We are holding up that trophy and cutting down those nets, because that's what we aim to have at the end of this season. Okay, nobody's going to remember this Florida game or the loss to Duke or the fact that we didn't win the SEC, which it's going to be kind of hard. I feel like we're in a really great position to win the SEC, but nobody's going to look at that at the end of the year and say, oh, yeah, Auburn won the national title, but they didn't, no, nobody's going to care about that. So get this team refocused, get them more engaged, because again, they just did not look engaged against Florida. They fought back from 22 down to make it a single-digit game. So this team is very resilient. We saw it against the Iowa State game. So it's definitely in their ability, but at the same time, it can be a good thing, not a good thing. It can be beneficial for the fact that we lost that game against Florida. Now, heading on, we have the game against Vanderbilt coming up again on the 11th at 6 p.m. Central Time on the SEC Network. Man, it is going to be a difficult game for us to win. Going into Vandy, this team this year, that their coach has them headed in the right direction, has them playing extremely hard. Shooting in that gym is always difficult. So if we can knock down some shots and have a good game there, it really can help us out tremendously. We need to see Janai Broome have another bounce back game. We need to see the National Player of the Year contender Janai Broome and be like that throughout the entire game. We need to see him have a consistent game. Okay? We need to see him have an efficient game. Okay? When Janai Broome has an efficient game and he's not putting up 19 shots, okay, this team is so much better because you don't have to force anything to him. Yeah, we do. We run the offense through him, but he's not trying to get his. Okay? The game is just coming to him. He's putting up a shot. He's making it. The game's coming to him. He's not having to force it to try to hit his numbers. Okay? I don't want this to be the narrative that Janai Broome is the problem, but we need to get him more involved. We need to get him back to his pre-injury self because we need him against Vanderbilt. We definitely need him against Alabama, and we need him come March, more importantly. So we'll have to see how this goes and if we can have that bounce back game against Vanderbilt. After that, we have the game of the year up to this point. I think if you polled every single Auburn fan out there, they would earmark this game as one of the most important of the year to this point. And let's see here. So Auburn is number 1. Alabama is number 2. Okay. Polls just came out today, so we already know that that's going to be the case. So we're going to see 2 teams that are at the top of their game right now in standings wise. Okay. Because this is not the best we've seen this Auburn team play. But if we can get past Vanderbilt and that not be a trap game and we don't look ahead to Alabama and we get through that, we are in a prime position to really take it to Alabama. And also, Josh isn't here, so I'm going to take the shot at Aiden Holloway. We want to own this team this year, if for anything, because of Aiden Holloway and what he has said since he has left the program and the fact that he's had a pretty decent year this year. I know at one point, I don't know if it's still the case, but at one point, he was having the best three-point shooting of anyone in the league. And last year, we couldn't get him to hit the broadside of a barn, it seems like. So we'll have to see if we can really take it to Aiden Holloway. Janai Broome is going to be fired up for this game. I mean, you look at what he did against Tennessee with them putting some T's on his car and everything. Just imagine the fact that somebody that he used to play with coming out and saying that he's not the best center that Aiden Holloway has played with. And he hadn't even really played a game at the time that he said it for Alabama and the center that they brought in. So Janai Broome is going to be fired up. He's going to want to take it to Alabama just for that alone. But Chad Baker-Mazara, we need him to have a good game. Hopefully he's not too injured. Hopefully he can have a really good game against Vanderbilt. And we need him to get going as well. We need that defensive presence as well as that offensive presence from him heading into this Alabama game. We need to make sure that our emotions are not getting the best of us, because I think with the shots that Aiden has taken against Bruce Pearl, and he has taken some shots against Bruce Pearl, the players for this team really love Bruce and what he does for them, and specifically Chad. And hopefully we don't see Chad's emotions get the best of him. We don't see the Chad of last year. Hopefully that's the case. And we really see the Chad of that has been so great for us this whole season. But Either way, the Vanderbilt game is going to be impressive. There's going to be a lot to go on in that game. We really need to stay focused and not look ahead to the Alabama Iron Bowl game, and winning on the road against Alabama just feels so sweet. But it's not the end all be all. If that ends up being the case that we end up losing that game, it is what it is. We just need to make sure we stay focused. We need to make sure that we don't go on a 3-game losing streak. That's the real important thing. We want to continue this momentum moving forward and get better and learn from our bad games like we, against Florida. So we'll find out a lot come the Vandy game, and we'll find out even more come the Iron Bowl. So before I get out of here, I want to talk about our affiliate link again with Fanatics. Again, if you are looking for any new Auburn gear heading into March, make sure you click the link below in our affiliates, in our description. Use that affiliate link. It helps us out, makes us a little bit of money. We would love to be able to continue to make this episode, this podcast, this everything about our channel. We want to make it better and better. We're not here to make money. We're not here to make a profit. If that happens, awesome. We're not going to complain about it. So any little bit that you can do is absolutely fantastic and awesome, and we appreciate it. But speaking for Josh, I can say one thing else. War Eagle, baby.
Johnson goes to deny. Step back. Big play.
It's got you here.
Jones doesn't go the tip by